Hello, we are here for another episode of The Music Prophet. And this week we're having we're gonna have two songwriters in the studio and they're gonna play 3 songs live. And it's gonna be interesting because they've been in the music industry for a while. They've done a lot of projects, both that are still running and some that are finished. And so I think there's gonna be a lot of interesting stories that you'll find. Yeah. So my guests today are Tanner Reinhardt and Shawn Fisher.
Shawn Fisher?
Shawn
Fisher.
Maybe that's your stage name now.
I should just be Tan. You can take my ER.
Yeah. Tan Reinhardt and Shawn Fisher. Yeah. But we have Shawn Fisher and Tanner Reinhardt in the studio today.
That's my name. Perfect.
How you doing?
I made up I know it's Music Prophet, but if you were gonna have your own Kyle Vine podcast, it would go something like this: He's not a tree, he's not a branch, he's Kyle Vine. Kyle Vine podcast.
That would be brilliant.
Yeah,
pretty good.
I mean, I made a radio commercial last night that was a mix of beatboxing on top with spoken word on top, and it kind of went that way.
Nice.
It was cliche, but it works.
Yeah.
So, So I guess we'll start with Tanner.
Yeah.
So tell us about your journey into music and how it's gone from playing in bands and solo projects and then now just a new album at this point.
Okay. Yeah. Rewind to the beginning.
Let's go back.
I grew up in Elliott Lake, just playing music with my friends, and my older brother played music, so that kind of interested me. And I think at that time, like the cool bands were like Weezer and Green Day, and they're still cool. So that's a testament to how awesome they are. Nirvana was big. Foo Fighters were starting to get big after that. Smashing Pumpkins, all that stuff. Oasis was huge, and I remember playing Wonderwall for the for the school in grade 6, and we did some Green Day. I don't remember what Green Day song we did, but. Anyways, that's where it started. So we played that, and people were into it, and I had fun. So just like stuck with it, and then I guess grade 13 OAC year, which doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't even exist anymore. It's not even a thing.
No,
I'm so old.
Yeah. And dying each day.
Yeah, and now I'm just worrying
a little
myself
bit more
to death.
inside.
One day at a time. Yeah.
But I think that's actually
and that's it. And from there, it's been a slow and steady decline. No,
that's a good point though, right? Because after the youth and like the high school period, when all of a sudden life takes over, it's a completely different way that you make music. Like you have other things to worry about.
And listen to music too.
Yeah, that's true. My taste has changed so much. So like, if you look at like the band that I was in the OAC year, it was kind of like Alexis on Fire. We actually even got to play a show with Alexis on Fire, which was cool, but it was like an eye opener for me, and I kind of realized like, yeah, those guys are like they're doing it, and we're kind of pretending.
Yeah, you're not doing it.
We're not doing it the way that they are. So that was an eye opener. And shortly after I quit that band, and I started a new band where I got to be the lead singer. Like I was doing like the Dallas Green thing where he was singing the backup vocals, and we had a screamer. He would do he would do the main vocals, and every now and then I had my part. And I after that I was thinking like, well, maybe I can write some songs and I can sing. And so I did that, and so that was Life Blown Open. And we were around for a while. We moved to Toronto for a while, and we were playing the Horseshoe Tavern and making some headway. But I ultimately found like that was not. Like after a few years in Toronto, first of all, I hated Toronto. It's too busy. And then second of all, not making the strides that, I kind of thought we would, maybe naively. It's, you do this long enough, what you realize is doesn't matter how good you are, right? I mean, there's a podcast with the Black Keys and Joe Rogan on a little while ago.
It's a great podcast.
Yeah, it's a great podcast, man. Talking about how they made it, and it was like they were just doing it. They just kept
do it. I think there's a big misconception that you got to be in Toronto to do it, or you got to be in a big city. I mean, you got to go to the big city and you got to play the big city, but you don't need to live there to do it. To be part of the scene, maybe. But like I found that because we used to play Toronto a lot, and our publicist was out there. We have a licensing company out there. Our manager was out there, and the scene got so small. It's like, and we weren't living in Toronto. It's just like we're making strides, and like we'd go there and we do photography. Like we do everything like through our manager or whatever. But but we ended up, I'd be in Toronto. I wouldn't be, I didn't need to live there, but I'd go there and it'd be like, this band's playing at this place, this band's playing at this place. And it just turned into a community so quickly. And I'm like, wow, I always thought that you had to like move to Toronto, you got to move to Montreal or Vancouver. Well, not Vancouver so much anymore, but a big like mecca center or epicenter, I guess.
And I think that the internet obviously is helping to make that community a lot more accessible for everybody, which is nice. Yeah. So even more so now, you don't have to move to Toronto. I think we just kind of were like, we were trying to live the dream, trying to, I don't know.
You don't know. There's no handbook.
We didn't know. We didn't know that it was.
There is actually kind of a handbook.
I mean, yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Metaphorically and physically.
No, physically there is a handbook.
Well, like that Black Keys interview, they were saying, like Rogan kept on saying, I'm like, you should help people to navigate this industry because you're going into the unknown constantly and everything. You're just trying to figure stuff out, and you have to have a dedicated team, and that's not easy to come by. That work ethic that it takes to just keep pushing and keep moving, because you throw stuff out, like you're emailing people, and you're throwing it into the abyss. Oh, totally. Sometimes nothing comes back, and then every now and then you might get a little something. And you get a little spark, and then you got to turn that into a fire, and that's hard to do.
Yeah, man.
So,
it really honestly takes either you 100% being committed to it, and then if you get that tipping scale, you won't be able to handle it anymore. But even with the team, because like when we were doing it, it was a 6 or 7 person team, like working, getting paid. Our friggin' agency, our manager, publicist, the licensing company, me and the other guys, like we all had other than writing music, we all had our it's like Chris was like, he was like our social media dude and graphic designer. Just you know what I mean? Like you have to be it's not like how it was back in the day. Now you have to be, if you want to be a musician, you know what else you got to be good at doing? Graphic design and website development
and selling things.
Yeah, copywriting, every single freaking thing, right? So it's hard. It's a really hard industry to be in.
And for everyone listening, to give context, you were part of C. Perry.
Yeah,
for years. Yeah.
I think we made a lot of really good strides. I feel like we got close to doing. I think that we did some things that are notable. But still, despite all the things that we did, we still weren't able to get over a hump, and you can tack that up to anything.
You guys made some good stuff.
Yeah,
I listened to that album, and it's really well done.
Yeah, thanks, man. Well, we had a lot of good people, like
working
good
on it.
Producer. Yeah, we had good. The publicity on it was really good. We worked with a company called Indoor Recess, which I don't know if you know the Strumbellas. That's Indoor Recess at the behest of the Strumbellas, because we did a bunch of shows with them. They said, if you were looking for a publicist, go to these guys. And let me tell you, a publicist is freaking expensive, man. Yeah. Super duper expensive. It's worth it, but it's something when you're writing music and you're writing a song about, your girl that you're saying that you want to be with. But in fact, she has come to me and said, he doesn't even want to be with her, and I don't know why he's writing the song. Yeah. But anyways, that's just a joke. But anyways, you're just trying to focus on writing great songs. Yeah, you weren't there. You just want to focus on writing the music, but there's all these other freaking doors that you need to freaking knock on or open or whatever.
And coming from the opposite end of the spectrum, we didn't employ anybody. We were like, you know what? We're going to make good music. We're just going to focus on making the music we love. And we're just going to keep, making that music and playing and getting better at live shows. And that's what we're going to do. And then things will fall into place. And some things did. Like we played some Battle of the Bands, and we got some funding. We got to record at Metalworks Studio. We got to take like Pro Logic courses, and we were attending Canadian Music Week. We were networking. We got like stage coaching. We got all this stuff happening. But we never took, I don't think we ever like plunged in and like invested in the way that I think that you don't
need to get to that next step.
Maybe
that's
you don't.
Just punk rock DIY. There used to be such a network for all this stuff, like such a just built-in network, and like fanzines and like all this thing. But like now, there's so many, and you could blame it on you could blame it on there's so much music. You know what I mean? Like I worry. I'm like maybe we just weren't good enough.
I think every musician feels that.
Yeah,
maybe at some point you're gonna look in the mirror and go,
yeah.
Maybe you're just not cut.
And isn't there an element to it as well, where in like the 90s and 2000s even, bands were supporting bands. Like it was you could open for Big Wreck.
Yeah.
As an early rock band, and that would be your platform, right?
Yeah, we play with Big Wreck.
Nice.
Yeah. At that time, I feel like you would be able to open
embarrass
for
myself in front of Ian Thornley.
He's
great,
amazing.
He's very tall.
That is a solid landmark.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, people used to support each other a lot, and like just talking about Battle of the Bands. When I was growing up, bands were getting pitted against each other constantly. Yeah, and I know it's always been happening. Like Neil Young mentions the word Southern Man in a song. They're like, well, we don't need Neil Young around here. No how. Like, so there's always been...
I'm not following you on that one.
I'm not sure either, yeah.
The song Southern Man by...
but what's with the we don't need you around here?
Oh, he says that in the...
that's one of the lyrics?
He says, Neil Young sang about her. Well, Southern Man don't need around. Nanny hell.
So who's singing that song?
I'm singing that to you.
Oh.
No, it's by Leonard Skinner. I'm right now saying that.
That's that, what's that called again? Sweet Home Alabama.
So, no. Oh, yeah, it is.
That is Sweet Home Alabama. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the chances that I knew that? Pretty low.
But I guess that is a good point, because at that time there's competition to it, and if you have a sound, then no one else can have that sound.
Yeah. But like the Battle of the Bands thing wasn't like a huge, like when I was growing up, like, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe everybody would do this, but it'd be like your girlfriend comes up to you and she's like, hey, Billy's band, they suck compared to you, and it's like that's when like to have any good kind of like relationships with people, like that's how we did anything, is like be like, hey man, we're playing a show here, do you want to open for us? Hey, okay, cool, like we'll gig swap, and you make friends and you go support each other because you like music, not
like hey, I saw your band and we're better than you.
Yeah, totally.
You didn't have that competitive spirit.
Well, yeah. So being in a band, you like now you have to be a fierce competitor.
You gotta be. It's like you're competing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I think you could approach it that way.
I felt like that. I hated
Battle of the Bands. Like I remember,
be like, no, dude, you don't need to tell me that we're better. Like I enjoyed that. Well,
band, how is music? Like, how do you compete? I mean, yes, sure.
Decibel level.
Some people,
of course.
The louder you are, the better you are.
That's why Kyle always has his decibel meter. He's like, Sean's riding at 98 dBs right now, Tanner. You're locking in at 92. I'm sorry.
Sean's better.
Yeah. If you look on the board here, we have all the winners.
That's why he stole your ER and he's Shawner and you're just...
That's where I got my... Yeah, their credentials.
Those 6 decibels earned you that name.
Yeah, man. The ER is the credential. I didn't know that. Sean yeah.
But the title of... But I think, like, it's true. Winning Battle of the Bands really doesn't do a lot either. It's a title, but then at the same time you're doing a show, and you're essentially opening for whoever the last band is anyway.
Yeah.
So if you're first, you're opening act.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether you win or not.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know the concept of the battle. Like, you don't win to go first. Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean if you look at Battle of the Bands as a show itself.
Oh, I see.
People watching it as a fan maybe it's a contest, but if you're sticking around to see all the bands, you're basically seeing a concert of
and I think if you're
5 bands.
If you're watching a band and the whole time you're watching them, you're like assessing like, okay, so how good is the bass?
Yeah, you're not enjoying it.
And I'm going to assess the drumming, and I'm going to assess the stage presence. It's like you're not really enjoying it. Yeah, and that's not the point, I don't think, of a live show.
You would have 2 kinds of people at these shows. One would be the people that are like, no matter how crappy your band is, they're going to be like, oh my God, you guys were so good. Like, I've never seen you guys be so freaking good. And then you'll have the person that they're like, no, I'm doing a disservice to them, just tell them they're good. I'm going from no level of understanding music or anything, now I'm going to critique them to shreds.
I think all musicians are going to have some friends who will come up to you after the show. Yeah. They might say something like, hey, great show. And then it's that big, but here's what I would have done differently. And it's like, speaking from a standpoint where they really have no idea what they're talking about. So it's always interesting to hear.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like,
you got to listen. You do have to listen.
You have to listen. And it's like, you don't need to have like a freaking doctorate of music to like judge music. But like, you know, people trying to like put too much. It was like, well, your drummer, when he was hitting the snare drum, it seemed really loud. And I don't know if I don't know if we could do anything about that. It's like, well, that's not really... Yeah, I'm bored of you talking. I gotta go. Okay.
Well, but let's talk about feedback. When it comes to hearing it, how do you take that and filter it? Like, is there a process?
Definitely. So, like, growing up, I received a lot... I mean, playing in a band, you are putting yourself out there for people to criticize you. That's a big part of what you're doing. Yeah. And if you cannot handle that criticism, good luck. So you're going to hear a lot of criticism, and you need to learn to basically, you have to assess. You have to stay as neutral as possible, and that's super hard to do because people get attached. There's a lot of ego in music, especially as a young man. And now that I'm in my 30s now, my ego is definitely dissipating, but it's still there. And so when you hear people saying things that might be construed as negative, you have to, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I've never gotten a tattoo, but I imagine it's probably a good analogy because it's going to hurt, but you just accept it. And then you have this, I mean, for a tattoo, you have a beautiful piece of art, but in terms of,
you're left with something.
With music, you're going to be left with, like you're going to be given some useful material to use to improve
or devolve.
What about you, Shawn?
Well, I'll use a good example. Like, you know, we were running through Time Assassin, and Tanner gave me the lyrics so I could, you know, harmonize with him. And I read the lyrics for the chorus. I actually got shivers. Like, I'm not kidding. It really did.
Yeah, I thought he was joking.
I wasn't joking because you can't take me seriously. I get that. But like I told him, I'm like these lyrics are really good. And him processing that was just like a robot, like receiving like
data.
Yeah, receiving data. Like, you know, like thinking circle.
You could see the circle.
I could see the circle in his eyes. His left eye, more specifically.
Integrating.
Integrating compliment center, satisfied. Water alert.
Is this worth listening to?
Yeah.
Oh wait, it is. All right, I'll actually
totally
tune in.
So even positive criticism comes through a filter.
Like that's what I'm saying. So negative criticism, but like positive criticism, it's like I would almost always face it with some kind of skepticism. And like, can I really trust my grandma? That sounds good?
The answer is no. Your grandma's always going to say it's amazing.
I thought you were going to say your grandma's always wrong.
No, about other things, she's right.
In life.
Yeah.
She is right. I mean, she'll find some sort of good element about it, you know?
Your shirt looks great while you were singing that song.
You were so handsome up on that stage.
Oh
my goodness.
I couldn't believe how well you were standing on that stage.
Yeah, you stood so upright. You're so upright.
I've always said his posture is really good.
He's like, what about the music, Grandma? Let's talk about your posture.
When it comes to your experience as musicians, do you find that with all the years, is it easier just to jump into a song, whether it's writing or performance now?
Oh, yeah, big time,
Yeah. I mean, I think the more that you do it, the more comfortable you become. Like, I remember when I first started performing, man, my mouth would dry up on stage. I'd start to vibrate a little bit. I'd even get like a vibrato happening that I wasn't even going for.
Yeah,
you know,
people
like
think you're nervous.
It's just like you start to sound like Matthew Good when you first start. You know what I'm talking about? He had that like that, like really intense vibrato. Yeah. And you're like, why am I sounding like this? I'm just nervous. And then after a while, you just kind of go, well, you know what? Whatever. And we're just gonna go for it. And if people like it, that's cool. Yeah, you could call it confidence.
Yeah. I would say it's confidence. Well, like I would rather hear somebody that has a characterful, like that's not a word, but like someone that has character in their voice and is confident about their voice than someone that just hits notes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, robot.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember trying to sound like people. I was actually really good at imitating people.
Is there any imitations you do?
I'm interested too.
Yeah.
Like singing voices?
Yeah, what are your imitations?
I could do like, man, my Tom Petty was bang on. But I don't know if I can do it anymore. I was like, all right, so she's a good girl. Loves her mama.
Oh, he did it.
Jesus in America too.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if it's on point right now, but I used to kill that. I used to kill Green Day too. Yeah. I like, it's been a long time since I've. What was their big song? Good Riddance.
Good Riddance.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. I don't know if I can do it anymore. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go.
That's close.
With less age, I feel like your voice would be able to pull it off.
Yeah. I could do Michael McDonald.
I used to do it really good.
You know what Michael McDonald is?
Let's hear it.
We came from somewhere back in a long ago. Hard to be created.
I don't know who this is.
To be created.
How about Aaron Neville?
Well, I don't know, but I know I love you.
Remember Aaron Neville?
No, but I loved it.
Aaron Neville?
I don't care, man. I just love it.
And
so freaking goddamn much.
I could pull off some country. Actually, I grew up listening to
country. Yeah, hell yeah, brother, America.
And so, like, who was it? Randy Travis.
Oh, yeah.
I used to do a good Randy Travis. So he does that song, I'm gonna love you forever.
Ooh.
Forever.
That is terrifying how accurate that is.
Yeah, totally. Well, you're nailing it. But Tom Petty, I was waiting. I was like, I don't know about this. No, you did a couple of America too.
And America too. Yeah, so like when he would do, like one of the things that I noticed was like there's certain mechanics. Like you raise your palate.
Yeah, and your tongue goes like drop
down your voice and you kind of up into the notes.
Yeah.
You don't just hit them, you kind of up into them.
Yeah.
You know?
Man.
Right. And so just by raising the palate, coming up to those, now you sound all of a sudden like, it's like that Jordan Peterson impression. If you try and talk like Kermit the Frog and you use big words like substrate and you know fundamental substrate. You know who Jordan Peterson is?
Clean your room.
Yeah, so you clean your room, damn it. and that it turns out that's quite a useful tool, you know. And it's
ameliorate.
There's just certain things.
That's just a meme waiting to happen. A Kermit the Frog.
It is. Oh my god.
Kermit the Frog doing a Jordan Peterson speech is just
pretty sure it's
the next vaporwave.
Someone tried it like at the end of his podcast. He tries to get people to people ask questions. And someone put a question that like, can you say this is Kermit the Frog signing off on the microphone? And he's like, he's screw you.
He just said screw you.
He's like, I think he swore, but I'm not sure if we can swear. So,
what are some musicians that you do look up to? Because obviously there's a lot of technical things that you're looking at with Randy Travis, but is that something that like you've both done getting over the years?
I can name like a handful of artists. Tom Petty was one, big time. Maynard James Keenan from Tool, but through the A Perfect Circle project, that was massive.
Oh yeah,
that was a good project.
Yeah.
Actually,
buddy, yeah, I still to this day love it. And Chris Cornell, hands down. Soundgarden growing up was the band for me, and that doesn't come across at all in the way that I sing or write songs now. But just the inspiration, the way that he would compose, the lyrics were amazing. his voice, obviously. And now I feel pretty blessed that Big Rec is still going because he has sort of taken over that genre for me at least. I mean, it's not as dark.
Yeah, I don't think they get enough credit as like a band. They're a really good band. Like they have a lot of really great songs.
A lot of really good, and man, can they play?
Oh yeah,
they're
so amazing.
Talented.
They're amazing.
What about you, Shawn?
Oh man, growing up, like definitely like the whole like grunge scene, like you know, and like combining, I guess, like more storytelling punk rock. You know what I mean? Like definitely that's what I liked about grunge. It's like combining. It's like taking Tom Petty and combining him with like a punk band, right? Like the Damned and freaking Tom Petty or something, right? But like now I think like the people that I try to model myself after or that I look up to the most is like Paul Simon. Like Paul Simon is like just playing awesome, like great music, but also telling really complex, nuanced stories that kind of can like take you from where you are and then just transplant you into a moment. And like I don't know, I think that's definitely Paul Simon's like,
amazing,
huge.
Yeah, there's certain levels I feel like, because there's the general pop sort of style, and then there's Chris Cornell who does that emotional storytelling, and then there's a Paul Simon, which is just that next level.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. That's a meme in itself.
Oh yeah,
you can take anything and put that song over it. You make it gray.
Yeah, that's true. It's like you could just take a screenshot of us sitting here, and then the camera slowly
put it in slow
comes into us.
Yeah.
And play "Hello Darkness, My Old Friend," and it means something.
Gray screen, or whatever it's called, grayscale it.
Yeah.
Slow mo. All of a sudden,
what's a song that you could like
do that with?
That you can't do that with. You know what I mean? Like, what's a song that would be weird?
I'm sure there's some.
Like, that's a harder question. Like, for you walking down filming somebody walking down the street and play a song that is just like, this is stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. What would you guys say? Since you're the ones being interviewed, of course.
Yeah, I know. I'm asking questions.
I know, Cam, that is a really good question. Yeah, like, what is a song that is just not memeable at all?
Not memeable? I'm trying to think of something like, I don't know. Like, I was gonna say really chaotic music, but like that, holds its own thing.
Yeah,
right?
that can be like...
This band Psyopus, I don't know if you've heard of it, it's just chaotic. But I was like, no, if I was walking down the street, it'd be like, he's on drugs or something. Right?
Unless it was a band like Death Grips or like JPEG Mafia. Things like that where it's just a lot of noise and there's no real instrumentation.
JPEG Mafia is pretty visual, like, right?
Yeah.
Like, even the name.
Yeah.
JPEG.
Well, like I saw I heard the one song they had recently. It's like a black and white video, right? And it's like the whole song is like, it's like somebody's voice. It's like, what's freaking
He's brilliant. I mean, but he has
nuts.
songs like Ben Carson is black. And he's just all political.
Yeah.
His songs are just right on that edge of cultural knowledge, but also just trying to get a point across and be noisy.
I think like doing stuff to me, like what I would do, like my studio's down the street. What I would do is I work on some kind of music, and then I'm like, this sounds great in here, but then I get it on my phone, get it in my earbuds or whatever, or. Like, and then I go on my bike and I go up the hill by Sudbury Secondary, and I just like drive up that hill. Then I turn on the song and kind of just cruise down the hill. You know what I mean? Because like it's fun going down a hill and listening to music, right? But if I'm like, if I can vibe on this while I'm like, or while you're working out, or while you're doing,
but you're right. The environment that you listen to music dictates how it can be held or experienced, right? Because some songs are not good for driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just crash your car because you're just so calm.
You're so into it.
Yeah.
It's like, I love this song. Visual shutting down.
Oh yeah. You can't put on a calm song. I will crash my goddamn car.
Everything else shuts down except for my ear brain. And then
I have no other motive
just
skills.
shuts down.
Do you have are there a couple songs you guys have that when you hear it, like everything just like the world just disappears?
I really like this song by The Vines called The Winning Days by The Vines. I really like that song.
For me, it's like And if I'm listening to something, that's what I'm doing. Like I give it my. Sometimes I actually stop myself. Like if I am driving and I'm like, okay, let's let this color my scenery for a moment instead of just focusing so much on the music because I'm just in it.
Yeah. So. Another one, Saint Valentine by Gregory Alan Isaacoff, is like I embody that. When I hear that song, I embody that song. Like it's fully enveloping.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And that's what's good about music, because there's certain styles and there's certain genres too that are meant to be background, and there's others that just take over your entire world.
Yeah, man.
And you have no choice but to sit and listen or turn it off.
Yeah. Or have a panic. Or kill yourself. Because that's
yes,
always,
that too.
Yeah, that's always a choice. You could go get groceries, you could not get groceries, or you can kill yourself.
That's the 3 choices you make in life.
Yeah, always. It's
You're
always
constantly facing an existential crisis.
Yeah.
Should I end it?
Yeah,
Or should I go get groceries?
Relating that to music, though, is that a thought that you have as a musician too, where existentialism kicks in, that you think about, do I really want to do this anymore?
No, not for me.
I've felt like that. I felt frustrated before, where I'm like, what's the point? Like, maybe I should do something else. Maybe I should put my energy somewhere else. But that's okay. When, like, it's like, well, like, am I doing it for other people or am I doing it for myself? And you know what I mean? And so I think now I'm coming out of that. But I did go through a period where I was like, I almost had like disdain in regards to it.
I could see that happening.
You?
No, I mean, like I could see it happening to someone.
Yeah,
I could definitely see that, because
frustrating. It's hard.
But it's all about expectations.
Yeah,
and if you don't have expectations, then you can't be let down. And so, I feel like for me, I've never felt where I've never been in a place mentally where I didn't feel like I needed to play music. I feel like music is an everyday thing for me. It's always been. There's no way, even in my most stressful times, I still play music. And that'll never, I pray that never changes, because I really do. It is something I think that's very unique and special for me.
And that's a really good way to wrap up the interview, actually. I like that finish. So you're listening to The Music Prophet with Tanner Reinhardt and Shawn Fisher. You don't deserve the ER anymore.
Oh,
we're not equal, you know? That
dude.
Finishing comment just...
I felt it. I felt myself losing it. At one part, I'm like, there goes the R. I'm like, but you can get it back.
You can still get the E.
You still got that E.
Sean's sitting over there going, I'm losing the interview. Tanner's running away with it.
My name's getting erased off the board.
Listen how loud he is. He's so loud. How can I compete?
But to go out, though, I think we should do...
Another song?
Yeah. If you want, you can play your... what if you play your single as a way to finish up the show and give...
Yeah.
But first tell people where they can find you online and just some details about the album.
So first of all, I really need to say thank you to everybody who has contributed to this new album. I put up an EP a little while ago on bandcamp.com, and I didn't know what to expect, but I just put it out there. I put out a Facebook message that said, hey, I'm raising music for this album. You can go and buy the EP. My goal is $2,000. I'm going to try and hit that by the end of September. Although I didn't hit that goal, I raised $1,500 for the album, which will cover most of the mastering. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who has contributed to that. That is so meaningful and so valuable. And that's the kind of thing that kind of pushes me to keep making music and to really try and focus on making this album as good as it can be. You can find this EP that I was just talking about on bandcamp.com. So it's tannerreinhardt.bandcamp.com, I believe is the address.
Yeah, so thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back next week.